Hi, my name is Kevin Taylor. I would like to ask the Chief of Staff, Madam Freema Opare, the Transport Minister, and his deputy, that where is the bus money? This is with all due respect. With all due respect, today we'll be discussing how some group of people, yes, in government and out of government, have come together to rip Ghana of millions of dollars. I'm talking about the Transport Ministry. The biggest scandal, yes, listen to me, the biggest bus scandal that has hit this country. I'm going to reveal everything to you. I'm going to show you documents. I'm going to show you how some group of people have come together to steal millions from Ghanaians. Now, I would like people to cast their minds back. Between 2015 and 2016, there was this issue of bus branding. You remember, during the NDC era, I was one person who was very vocal. In fact, anytime I met my friends, we had discussions about it and how we thought it was an insult to the ordinary Ghanaian to allow government reps and a government to use the taxpayers' money to brand buses and also not account for them. In fact, there were some groups that were very vocal, and some of those groups were Occupy Ghana. In fact, they were actually having forums and debates and conferences every other day just to let Ghanaians know that they did not support that and people were supposed to be brought to book those times. And I really applaud them for the enthusiasm and the vigor they had those times to make sure that the government of the day then, that's the NDC government, were put on their toes. Today, I'm going to play a little bit of what happened in 2015, 2016 before I go into the scandal, because it is very important that we remind ourselves of what we went through and the things we said and what we have to do now to make sure that anyone who is involved in this same scandal, compared to the last one, is also brought to book and possibly jailed and shamed. Now, let's watch this from Occupy Ghana.
Who are working in Accra and have in their bank accounts your money and mine for doing nothing but hiring people in Ghana to stick faces on a bus. And nobody's going to jail. Such blatant collusion in breach of the law, we are told it should end because they refunded part of the money and the minister has resigned. But in August, they shelled out 3.6 million cedis for nothing. And so the ministry was broke. As it is said in my language, when you eat the head of an ape, it gives you nightmares. So we have presented a 20-page dossier to the Attorney General. And we've copied the Speaker of Parliament, Majority Leader, Minority Leader, leaders of all political parties. We are demanding rescission of the contract. We are demanding prosecution. Governments have stolen enough from Ghana. We will not allow it anymore. We are serving notice on the next government, whichever party it comes from, that as for this matter, we will not let it lie. We will not let this lie ever.
So, as you can see, these are some of the comments Occupy Ghana, which was being led by Bentel, Esankoma. You know, these are some of the things they said. And honestly, in 2015, 2016, we were all in support of what they did because it's one of those things whereby governments have to be checked by pressure groups like Occupy Ghana. I'm doing this because I want these same people who gave that pressure those times, including myself, to watch and also make a decision on this. We need to apply the same pressure we applied 2-3 years ago because this is Ghana and we are not supposed to be selective when it comes to corruption and scandal. Now, the scandal. Before I start, I would like you people to take notice of these names. Madam Freema Opare, she is the Chief of Staff of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government. We have Kweku Ofori Esiama. He is the Transport Minister. He's the current Transport Minister. There is Titus Glover. He is the Deputy Transport Minister. And then Isaac Ofori Poku. He's Daewoo rep in Ghana. Yes, he represented Daewoo in this whole deal. So now on the 6th of November 2017, the government of Ghana decided to meet Daewoo Ghana. Let's make it short. Yes, to meet them to go through the contract they have prepared. Now, when they went through the contract, what happened was they stated that 50 buses were going to be purchased from Daewoo, and that those 50 buses were the intercity buses. Those 50 buses were going to cost $8.750 million, $8,750,000 for 50 intercity buses. They stated a whole lot of things in the contract. They were going to talk about how amended tender prices were made, the tender form and the price schedule submitted by the tenderer, the schedule of requirement, the technical specification, the general condition. So on the 6th, this is what they did. Now, the people who were present at this meeting between the government of Ghana and Daewoo was, on behalf of the purchaser, that's the government of Ghana, is Ofori Esiama. Yes, he's the honorable minister, the minister of transport. The other person too who witnessed for Ofori Esiama was T.A. Selby. He's the chief director. And on behalf of the suppliers, that is Daewoo, is Isaac Ofori Poku. Yes, his signature is there, and he is the CEO, Ghana Daewoo Motors Ghana Limited, P.O. Box, blah, blah, blah. And the person who witnessed for Daewoo was Joseph Saki, and he is the general manager. All of this was done on the 6th of November 2017. Now, this is what happened. On the 27th of November 2017, remember, this all happened in 2017. On the 27th of November 2017, there was a meeting between the government of Ghana and Daewoo again. Now, at that meeting, people who were present were Mr. T.A. Selby, he is the Ministry of Transport Chief Director. He was at the meeting. Mr. Daniel Asa, Ministry of Transport Senior Planning Officer. He was at the meeting. I'm taking my time to mention all these names because we will be asking questions, and all these individuals have to come out and give us answers. Now, Ms. Alice Zhu, Ministry of Transport Procurement Officer. Mr. Isaac Ofori Poku, Ghana Daewoo Motors Limited Chief Executive, as you can see here. Mr. Joseph Saki, Ghana Daewoo Motors Limited, he's the General Manager. And Mr. David Yaboy Taki, Metro Mass Transit Limited, Technical Manager. It wasn't the MD, it's the Technical Manager. He was sitting in this meeting. The MD wasn't called here. We're talking about a technical manager to sit in this high-profile meeting which involves millions of dollars. I'm not disrespecting him, but you expect that in such meetings, you expect the MD to be part of this meeting. But don't worry, let's move forward. Now, at the meeting, these are the minutes. I'm reading everything to you. He said, there was a brief by the chief director. The chief director, who is Mr. T.A. Selby. The chief director said this at the meeting. Said, the chief director informed the meeting that the ministry received authorization from the Central Tender Review Board to negotiate on the tender price to come within the ceiling approved by the Ministry of Finance. That means Ministry of Finance knew about this. And that all that they were trying to say that is that Ministry of Finance, this is what they were telling Daewoo, have a cap. They have this cap where they can't exceed. Let me go on and read this. He also informed the meeting that the entity tender committee of the ministry met to consider the evaluation report and raise the underlisted issues for clarification. Now, these were the issues: consumable spare parts, training of drivers and mechanics, warranty, special tools, financing terms and payment. So they raised issues that are all these things going to be part of the contract. Now, let's take our time. When you go to the consumable spare parts, in the contract, they were expecting Daewoo to add spare parts to the buses we're buying. You know, the 50 buses, they were supposed to come with spare parts so that when they break down occasionally, we will have the parts there to fix them. Now, this is what happened at the meeting. Ghana Daewoo Motors Limited, represented by Mr. Isaac Ofori Poku, informed the meeting that the company will introduce an instrument termed as Kanban, where the supplier keeps stock of spare parts and other consumables on the premises of the purchaser and release them on request. So what is going to happen is Ghana Daewoo will bring to the spare parts and they will come and keep it at the warehouse of government of Ghana, which is the purchaser, and that as time goes on, when they need it, they will be releasing those spare parts to MMT. Yes, Metro Mass Transport. Daewoo will be going to the government of Ghana to say, MMT wrote to us that they need these spare parts, so give it to them. A private company now deciding what government should do. Now, when it comes to the training of drivers and mechanics, this is what it says. It said the meeting recognized the need for drivers and mechanics to be trained on the use and proper management of the buses. The meeting therefore agreed that Ghana Daewoo Motors Limited should attach technical experts to train drivers and mechanics of MMT. This is simple. This is what was all in the contract. Now, when it comes to warranty, Mr. Isaac Ofori-Poku confirmed the warranty offer of 3 years, 100,000 kilometers, whichever comes first. So the cars were under warranty, and that anything below 100,000 kilometers, Daewoo was going to take care of it. Let's keep going. Still in the meeting on the 27th of November 2017. Now they are building a contract. They are building a case. I've not told you the figures. I've not told you how much. I'll tell you. Now, when it comes to financing, he said the meeting was informed that the Ministry of Finance granted an establishment warrant amounting to 8.75 million for the purchase of the buses. The total tender price of 8.759 is above what has been approved, and therefore the need for the tender price to be adjusted to come within the budget. As I already said, initially, Daewoo came up with $8.795 million for the 50 buses, but the Ministry of Finance wrote to the government and said that we can't provide that. It is above our threshold, and that if it drops to 8.750, then they can have money for that, and they will pay. So Daewoo also accepted that they will slash $45,000 off the $8.75 million so that they could fall within the budget of the government of Ghana or the Ministry of Finance. So that is what happened. Ghana government told Daewoo that the 8.795 is too much. If you can bring it to 8.750 million, we will be able to pay for the buses. Now, this is what happened. These meetings all happened on the 27th of November 2017. Now, on the 27th, that same day, they gave Daewoo a letter to tell them that officially, go and think about it, and if you want to negotiate, you want to bring down the price, let us know. On the 28th, just one day after 24 hours, Daewoo actually wrote to the Deputy Minister of Transport. Can you put this here? Yes, because on the 27th, after the meeting, the Ministry of Transport actually gave Daewoo a letter saying that following the negotiation meeting held on the 27th of November 2017 on the above subject matter and furtherance to the discussion on the tender offer price of 8.795, I kindly request that you inform the ministry in writing the new tender offer price to enable the ministry communicate same to the Central Review Board for their concurrent approval. So this is what the Ministry of Transport gave Daewoo after the meeting on the 27th of November. On the 28th, the next day, Daewoo came back and said that, yes, we have slashed $45,000 from the $8.795 million. So now this is the letter Daewoo wrote to the Transport Ministry. Says, we acknowledge receipt of your letter number QR160288 blah 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 dated 27th November 2017 on the above subject and wish to inform you that we accept to reduce our total tender offer price by an amount not exceeding $45,000 as agreed during the negotiation meeting held on 27th of November 2017, as I already said. Now, we are therefore by this letter amending our tender offer price of $8.795 million to a new offer price of $8,700,050,000 United States dollars. Remember, everything is quoted in dollar. It was signed by Isaac Ofori-Poku, Chief Executive Officer of Daewoo, representing Daewoo in Ghana. So as you can see here. Now, look at this. When you go on the website of Daewoo, yes, which you can see here, every single bus they sell has its own price. Now, the buses we are talking about here, when you go on the website of Daewoo, it's $75,000. I am not making this up. You see, the website is there, the contact is there, the numbers are there, the emails are there. You can go and ask. I am not forcing people. I am not pushing information which is not right. This is the website of Daewoo. And on the website of Daewoo, it states that the buses Ghana is buying And I'll give you the brand Ghanaians were buying, the government of Ghana were buying, the brand, the name, the specs. I'm going to give you everything so that you know that what I am saying is the truth. We were buying some specific brands, and I'll show you the brand. The brand you're seeing there is the brand Ghana was buying, and that brand is $75,000. But in the contract, they are saying that the 50 buses were going to cost $8.750 million. It means that each bus cost $175,000 to purchase. Yes, from the amount they are quoting here, which is $8.75 million for 50 buses from this same company that we did our investigation. It means that they are not buying the buses for $75,000 from these Chinese. The government of Ghana is telling us that they bought the buses for $175,000 each. One single bus, $175,000 each. That's why it ended up at 8.750. Now, if you do that, it means that if we go by the price here, 75,000 per bus, it means there's a difference of $5 million we can't account for. If we are taking this figure from the website of the Chinese company, Daewoo, which states that every single bus, the bus we bought, the brand, is $75,000, it means there's a difference of $5 million missing. And where is that $5 million? Because if every bus is $75,000, it means 50 buses should cost us $3.750 million. $3.750 million. If every single bus is $75,000. Now, they are saying that the 50 buses cost us $8.750 million. It meaning every single bus cost us $175,000. An estimate it is bloated by $100,000 each on every bus. Now there's a difference of $5 million. If we are going by this price, where is the $5 million? That's what I was telling you. This is the biggest scandal to hit our transport ministry in the history of this country. Now, it does not end there, right? I'm going to show you the specs and the reason why these people have lied from the beginning. Now, when you go into the contract, you will see something called a tender form and price schedule. Producer, put it here. Contract price. The contract price is $8.750 million in dollars. Now, the breakdown of the contract price is as in table 1 below. Now, when you go into table 1, you see this. Model number. Now, the model number we are talking about here is GL6127HK. I'll talk about the model number. Don't worry. I'll talk about the model number. GL6127HK. Price term is CIF. Unit price is 175,000. This is in the contract. And the Chinese company have a lot to answer. That's why I was saying that we have to check the names before I started. Unit price for one bus is $175,000. Quantity, they first shipped 30 of them, which was $5.25 million. Then later, they shipped Daewoo bus GL6121HK. Be very mindful of the brand, because we have GL6127HK and then GL6121HK. That was later they shipped the 20, which was also $3.50 million, $3.5 million. The total is $8.750 million. In total, we have 50 buses which are already in the country. They have been shipped and the government has paid this money. Now I ask, how much did they pay for every single bus? Is it what is on the website, or is $175,000 for each? We are waiting for answers. And then we will also have more questions to ask. It does not end there. Now, I was talking about the bus brand, right? 30 Daewoo buses. The first one that came in was GL6127HK. Then the second 20 that came in was GW6121HK. They are already in the country. This is the funny thing. Yeah, now on the 5th of October 2017, there was a memorandum. Now, report on the visit of MOT and MMT delegation to Daewoo Motors, Guilin, China. You know, some people went to China to inspect the buses that were going to be brought to Ghana, the 50 buses. Now, when they went, they were inspected only one bus. Fine, they can't bring all the 50 buses. Now, this is what is in the report. I am not making this up. This was signed by engineer Musa S. Salifu, Clifford Asante. This was signed by them. And I'm going to read what is in this memorandum for you to see after they went to China. It said, after the request of GH Daewoo Motors Ghana, a 6-member delegation comprising of the CEO of Ghana Daewoo, Mr. Isaac Ofori-Poku, the Deputy Minister of Transport, Honorable Daniel Ni Titus Glover, and Mr. Daniel Issa, representing the Ministry of Transport, Mr. Bennett Abuaje, Managing Director, Engineer Musa Swala Salifu, and Clifford Asante, representing MMT, paid a working visit to China from the 29th of September to the 4th of October 2017. The trip was to afford Daewoo Motors to introduce their various bus models to MMT. The delegation visited the Daewoo Motors plant in Guilin, China, to look at the various coaches at the plant. The delegation saw the GL6127HK model coach for the passenger transportation. The model has 3 types: 33, 51, and 62-seater capacities. So, for all we know, when these people went to China, all these people went to, they saw only one model. And that model was a GL6127HK. That was the only model that was shown to the delegation that went to China. But as we speak, we have 2 different models in the system. Yes, the 30 and the 20, they are all different models. And we want to ask, what changed? What happened that we have 2 different models when we only went to check only one model? Because when they went to check, they saw some observations, and some things were like the coated steel expansion tanks. They recommended that the expansion tanks must be made of plastic, coated steel coolant pipes. They requested about 7 things they said that Daewoo was supposed to change. So if you show them only one brand, the next brand that comes and has all these things, how are they going to know? And remember that when they buy all these buses, yes, I almost forgot, when all these buses are bought, the Chinese company, as I stated earlier on, that they add tools. Mostly they add like 3 pickups and motorbikes for the servicing of the buses. As we speak, we don't know where any of these buses are, pickups are, and the motorbikes. And I know Titus Global has answers to that. The pickups they gave us and the motorbicycles, I'm asking Titus Global that where did he keep them? Because I know that those pickups came. And the tools to fix the buses and all that, where are all those things? The buses have been here for some time now. And we want to know also that the expertise who are going to be sent to come and help MMT to fix these buses for a month, where are those people? These are small questions we need to know. Now, the shocker is about to happen. Let me tell you this. Do you know that as we speak, the Ghana government has ordered 100 more buses? Yes, they are on the high seas. They will be here at the end of the month. Now, these 100 buses which have been ordered by the government of Ghana through the Ministry of Transport, nobody has seen a contract of those buses. Yes, we have no contract. And then the first contract, as you saw, and I'm going to publish it, it covers only 50 buses. 50 buses for MMT. 50 buses. Now we have 100 buses which are going to be here in the next 2 weeks. I would like to ask, where is the contract for those 100 buses? Because nobody can tell us that the same contract that covered the 50 buses is going to cover the 100 buses. It is not possible. So this is a simple thing. Ghana has ordered 100 more buses and they have paid for them. If we go by the pricing of Daewoo Company, which is $75,000 per bus, we are talking about a double here, over $12 million, which is going to be taken away by some people. Because we bought 50 buses and $5 million was just taken away by some people. We are still asking, where is the $5 million? So now, if we have 100 buses coming in, it means $10 million. If you go by the price of $75,000 by each bus, it means $10 million is going to go away. Adding to the first one, $15 million. $15 million has been shared by some people. We want to know where the $15 million went. The 100 buses on sea and the 50 buses which is already here and paid for. The 50 buses, we know that on the website of Daewoo, it is $75,000 per bus. You guys are telling us it's $175,000. We are not going to take that. Now, there's a $5 million difference. Where is that money? The $100 million, the 100 buses on sea coming now, you have paid for those buses. Now, if you go by the prices here, $75,000, there should be $10 million saved. Those buses, no one should come tell us that they are $175,000 each, because on the website of Daewoo, it is $75,000. As we put these two together, we are going to get $15 million gone. I'm asking the Chief of Staff, Madam Fremont Parry. I'm asking the Transport Minister and his Deputy, Titus Glover, that, and then the representative for Daewoo, yes, Ofori Poku. I'm asking these 4 people that, where is the $15 million? These are simple questions that demand simple, reasonable answers. My fellow Ghanaians, this is just the beginning. I have a lot in the weeks to come. I will be telling Ghanaians how some people are conniving with private entities to steal from Mother Ghana. I told you from the beginning that Bas Brandon, the 1.5 million we were chasing Ghana cedis, 1.5 million Ghana cedis was just a tiny bit. This is $15 million. The Bas Brandon we were talking about 2015, 2016, Isankuma and the rest, we were all jumping. Myself, I spoke about it. It is nothing. Today we're talking about $15 million of money being taken away by some people in government. And I'm asking Titus Glover, the Minister of Transport, the Chief of Staff. I've been stressing on this, the Chief of Staff, because I know what I have. And then Mr. Opoku, the Daewoo rep in Ghana, that where did that money go? My fellow Ghanaians, this is just the beginning. And this is the biggest scandal that has hit the transport ministry in this government, in the history of this country. My name has always been Kevin Ekobedu Taylor, and this is With All Due Respect.